This bill is about giving tools to communities to survive.
Communities in Manitoba's north are on the front lines of the climate crisis, and now a Northern Manitoba MP wants to see a federal infrastructure fund worth $35 billion redirected to community-based climate solutions with a focus on the north.
Scientists, experts have made it clear time is running out to get a handle on climate change. Mitigation is critical now, and the reality is that things are getting worse.
Bill C-245 hit the floor for the first reading earlier this week and would see the Infrastructure Bank of Canada revamped as an avenue for public-owned projects to access federal cash, with a focus on communities feeling the heavy weight of climate change.
Even folks in Winnipeg, felt the devastating impacts of forest fires, record levels of smoke. People were hospitalized, lives were impacted. Right now, imagine communities like Pongassi First Nation and Little Grand Rapids First Nation whose territories were burnt.
The NDP claims as it's currently set up, the Infrastructure Bank of Canada is a failed pro-privatization fund, quote, by billionaires for billionaires, end quote, saying right now there are major projects that have funding as a barrier, with the bill also proposing better representation of Indigenous and Northern communities.
We need the bank to place a priority on investments in Indigenous and Northern communities, but that can only be done along with changes to governance and making sure that the board of the Infrastructure Bank is reflective of Indigenous communities, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities.
The bill has support of several leaders in Northern Manitoba who say while communities have various projects and initiatives they want to get started, barriers to do so are largely funding related. If successful, the bill will see cash flow towards climate adaptation projects, which include things like all-season roads, improved wildfire response, and an end to diesel electricity-fueled communities in the province's diesel zone.
We need to have an all-weather road on the east side of Lake Winnipeg.
For Chief Elvin Flett of the St. Teresa Point First Nation and the Island Lake First Nations, he says his communities are suffering. They would like to build a recycling facility and more sustainable housing, but are unable to move forward on these projects due to limitations on year-round access.
Our geographical location is inaccessible by land 80% of the year. With a trend in climate change, we are experiencing trials of shortening our winter road season. Without accessibility, it is impossible for us to keep up with purchasing or maintaining equipment and materials that would be needed for any major project.
City News requested comment from the Liberal government on the NDP bill, but a response was not received by deadline. In Winnipeg, Morgan Modjeski, City News.